she's left. She's left me. Well, she's being escorted out by our floor manager to join the team as they go and investigate the Friary. But I told you about Elizabeth Payne. Come with me because Richard Jones, you have some great news about this.
Very good news, actually, yes. We've had a message from Peter Morris, whose great-great-grandmother actually was involved with the theatre, and her name was Elizabeth Payne. She was married to Ashley Payne, who was a stagehand at the theatre. She worked as a seamstress, and she did work part-time at the theatre, repairing costumes, etc. She didn't actually die at the theatre. She died in Derby, at a house in Derby. But
she would have spent her life in that theatre.
Not a life, but she would have visited. She spent time there. She was married, as I say, to a stagehand there. And it's a name that he came up with the name. We do have to say he did.
How easy would it have been to look up that name?
Not easy at all. I mean, I've been beavering away here whilst Rich has been going about his stuff, and I've been trying to find that name. We've gone through all the records, and Derek came up with it in the location.
You couldn't find the name?
We couldn't find the name at all.
Thank you very much for that. Who's that from?
From Peter Morris.
Peter Morris, thank you very much for that. Matthew Smith, what do you make of that? Elizabeth Payne, not a name you can look up, not a name the historians can get. Derek comes up with a name. That's pretty impressive.
It is very impressive. I actually find that quite fascinating. I haven't got a ready explanation for it. I mean, if that really is the case, that we've got a link with that name. And again, I think we need to do more checking to see how easy that could have been found out. But it's not an obvious one, so no, on the face of it, it seems very impressive.
What does that mean, Matthew?
Well, I'm not saying it necessarily means it's paranormal, but, you know, that's one possible explanation.
I don't think the audience particularly like your explanation there.
No, I'm agreeing that it is very impressive. Again, I don't think we know enough about the conditions to say whether or not have we truly ruled out a possible normal explanation, but on the face of it, very impressive indeed.
OK, David Wells?
I think he wants to raise a white flag myself and surrender that one. I think it's interesting that she's chosen to haunt this place. The question I have is, she didn't die there, and that's the question people are going to say. She didn't die in trauma, she didn't die there, so why is she there? She's a theatre lovey, where else would she be? She'd be in the place she liked.
Thank you very much. OK, Julian, what have you got for us?
Right. Well, very busy, David, on Interactive. Just a few things have come in to mention here. Alex from Aylesbury said, when Derek mentioned fire at McCluskey's, their fire came on at home. These kind of things happen all the time almost. Or people ring in or they text with their stories. Many people have been saying they can smell burning candles, such as Susan, her daughter in Devon, Chris in Chester, Alan in Norwich. The competition...
Oh, yes.
We had 13,000 texts for the tickets.
Yes,
Wait
I know.
for this, because Robin over here has got...
I'll leave you to it, Julian.
Yeah, Robin has been keeping an eye on the text. Robin, how many people have texted for the competition?
Well, we've had over 19,000 texts already for the competition, which is fantastic.
Right, we're almost breaking the record of our last Easter special. Now, the webcams, how have they been looking? Now, first of all, Michaela, webcam 1.
Yeah, we've had some really interesting trends tonight. A lot of people have been seeing hooded creatures, women in a full skirt, and they've been hearing the sound of running water, strangely. A lot of people at 10:40 wrote in about that.
Yeah, that is a trend, actually, on the webcams, running water. Let's move to Dan here, who's keeping an eye on webcam 4. What are people saying, Dan?
Well, we've been getting a lot of reports about an adult-like figure and a child-like figure in some kind of argument of, something heated.
Again, an argument. Every time you do a webcam, you get people having an argument.
I don't know what it is.
OK, Camille, you're looking at webcam 3. How's that going?
Oh, it's been really busy. We had over 40 people type in to actually say that they're at 10:30 tonight. They actually heard groaning of a man. And actually, we've just had a recent one at 10:44. We've had 3 people say they all heard a child's voice shout, "Help me, help me, help me."
Right, OK, and running water as well. Have you had that?
Yes, we did have that.
OK, so that's webcam 3. Webcam 2, Jane.
Well, some screaming, but mainly a figure in a dark cloak. Lots of thespian figures, which isn't that surprising since it's one of the stage areas. And many people came through to us about 9:30 to 10, telling us they saw a woman in white. OK, now the experiment, that's the piece of wood. Big response on this. Ellie over here has been keeping an eye on your responses on this. Ellie, what have people been saying?
We've had a lot of suggestions that it's a trapdoor. Some people are seeing it as part of the stage when the nightclub was still a theatre, but most people are saying that they think it's something to do with the gallows.
Right.
So a lot of people think it's from the jail.
So keep those texts coming in. And, of course, your psychic art. Now, Elizabeth Payne, David talking about a relative of Elizabeth Payne faxing in. We're getting some pictures, some psychic art from you. Here's one. Is this Elizabeth? Morris has sent that in. That's pretty scary, that one. Here's another one from, I think that's Max there. Is this Elizabeth Payne? So that one's come in. This is one of... is this a man at the jail? Oh, no, the nightclub. There you are. And you can see probably a bearded man, so that one's just come in. And one more for the moment. Noose there. Is that John, says Kitty. So, thank you. Keep those coming in, and we'll report back on how it's all going a little bit later on. David, back to you.
Thank you very much indeed, Julian. Well, I've just been told some breaking news about Derek. Now, Derek had just gone to the Friary, which is our next location, but he stood outside and he is refusing to go into the building because, to quote him, there is something too dark and too nasty within that building for him to go into. So what he's done, he's gone for a drive around Derby to clear his head. The rest of the team are preparing to go into the Friary, which is an amazing building. It's a building which was built in 1230, and it was used as by the Dominican friars, and it was also known as who were also known as the Blackfriars. Now that's the 3D graphic of where they are going. It remained a friary until Henry VII dissolved the church, and in the 1850s the mayor of Derby's son actually shot himself in room 106. In 1925 it became a hotel, and then it became a pub in the 1990s, and all of the friary is believed to be haunted, which is supposedly why Derek won't go anything near it. What did he say? Nasty, dark work. Our team took a closer look a few days ago.
Downstairs, the Friary is a nightclub, but when you come upstairs, you're faced with this very ornate corridor with rooms on either side. There's one room in particular that has a great deal of poltergeist activity, and that is room 106. There is a mystery that surrounds room 106. The Mayor of Derby's son shot himself in this room, and still to this day, nobody knows why. Poltergeist activity is rife in here. The wardrobe doors open on their own, the table moves, taps turn themselves on and off, and also a ghost sighting of a man hanging from this beam has been seen.
I've had loads of different experiences here since I've started. There's quite a few. But the one I'll tell you about is the seance that I did in this room here with some of the staff members one night. There was about 5 of us, and we all went into the room, and we sort of sat down holding hands, and there was a table next to us, and as we started talking and saying, is there anybody in the room, the table moved away from my leg, and I thought it was the girl that was stood next to me. And I asked her, and she said that it wasn't, so we moved the table completely out of our way so that nobody was touching it, carried on asking if there's anybody here, if anyone could make a noise, and the table moved across the room, and we all saw it, and we all got quite scared, and we all ran out of the room.
There's an amazing amount of psychic phenomena, ghostly goings-on that happen here in this building.
Perhaps the most common kind of paranormal activity down in the cellars is that of ghost sightings. Many people have actually witnessed the sight of friars, and that's hardly surprising seeing as this place used to be a friary.
There's been about 4 electricians that have come to the building to do different things with the lights in the club, and each one of them have seen the monk that's down there, and the lighting guy was down there fixing up some lights, and the electrician was with him saying which power points he wanted to use. So the lighting guy went back upstairs, the electrician was left down there on his own, and he turned around to get his tool bag, and stood in the doorway behind him was a monk, and he left his tools, he left his job, and he left the country, and no one's ever heard of him since.
The other thing that is quite strange is many staff members refuse to come down into the cellars on their own because they feel that they're always being watched.
I don't like going down there on my own at all, and I won't go down there on my own because I hate it.
So, what will happen in that dark, nasty place that Derek Akora won't go into? We'll find out after this break. Well, welcome back to Most Haunted Live. You join us here in the hub. This is our operations centre. Now, I've just heard that our last audience member, Jenny Griffiths, is about to join the investigators over at the Friary, and so will we. Now, we will do that, but only after we've found the results of our fantastic psychic experiment, and Julian and David Wells have got back together. So what have you got for us in the, with regards to the answers